Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day. My day is all right. Today is June 22nd, no, 21st. It is Wednesday. It was also my last official day of high school. So, round of applause for me. Made it through the flawed American education system. Of course, I will be going to college in a few months shortly, around August, mid August. And there's a few things that will definitely change throughout the channel within then. But those are for a later me to figure out and discuss. But yeah, with that being said, hope all you guys had a wonderful day. Not much going on in the world of me outside of just finishing my last day of high school, but it's definitely been a journey. So, with that being said, like all journeys, we have one to follow today, and we're going to start opening up tonight's segments with the Trump administration segment per usual. For the first topic we have today, the U.S. has formally accepted a Qatari jet. The United States has officially accepted the Qatari Boeing 747 8 luxury jetliner as a gift from Qatar. The Air Force has been tasked with upgrading it, according to officials, to be used as the new plane for Trump. According to experts, the plane would take years and millions of dollars to rework to be used as Air Force One and would likely cost taxpayers almost $10 million. This jet is just a robbery of the American people. He will use taxpayer dollars to repurpose this jet, and it could take him and will take it for himself when he leaves office. He is essentially robbing the taxpayers' dollars because this plane, although seems like a gift to the Department of Defense, is actually going to be transferred to the Trump Library after he leaves office for his second term. But instead of waiting for 2 years for that jet, or a jet from Boeing, Trump has decided to rob the American people blind, without a care at all. And I hope that plane drops out of the sky. I mean, none of us get a say in him spending all this money to repurpose it, and it doesn't even get to stay an American plane. It just becomes a Trump plane after he's done. That is bullshit. I'm not going to stand for that, and neither should any of you, honestly. Moving on to the next segment today, as Trump has met with the South African president, and the meeting descended into chaos. On Wednesday, Trump met with the leader of South Africa. In the meeting, Donald Trump confronted President Cyril Ramaphosa with extreme claims of white genocide and unfair land seizures. These claims were false and interrupted a meeting of which Ramaphosa planned to discuss trade with the president. But as what seems to be the normal with Trump, he led the South African president into a trap, just like he did with Zelensky a few months ago. Trump said, when referring to white farmers in South Africa, "We have many people that feel like they are being persecuted and they are coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if there are persecution or genocide going on. People are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated and in many cases they're being killed." Ramaphosa also brought white South African golfers to the meeting and told Trump, "If there were African or farmer genocide, I bet you these three gentlemen would not be here now." Now there is in fact a high death rate in South Africa, but white South Africans are in fact not the targeted majority, as the number of murder victims in South Africa. I lost my wording and I really messed it up. We're gonna cycle back. The amount of murder victims in South Africa are dominated by the black majority, though, and not by the white majority. The fact is, 19,000 people have been killed since April to December of 2024. And in that time, only 7 of them were white farmers. Everyone else has been of black South African descent. So, to say that there are white farmers being persecuted and attacked and having genocide go against them is completely incorrect, as it's not happening. Moving on. Trump luring world leaders to meet with him is just crazy. So he can destroy them for his ego is absolutely insane. This situation is very similar to what Ukraine did with President Zelensky, or what he did with Ukraine and President Zelensky, and it's embarrassing. Global leaders should not be getting attacked in the White House. Trump should be respectful, but he isn't, and that looks poorly on us as the American people, and it looks poorly on himself. It is truly an embarrassment to see the President of the United States go in and shit on another world country's leader just because he doesn't like them or he disagrees with a policy. It's so stupid. Moving on, a judge has ruled that Trump unquestionably defied a court order. A federal judge has said that the Trump administration has violated a court order preventing deportations without adequate notice. In a hearing on Wednesday, Judge Brian Murphy said, the department's actions in this case are unquestionably violative of the court's order. So, what did they do? Earlier this week, lawmakers for undocumented men claimed that the Trump administration defied Murphy's court order by sending them to South Sudan, a country on the verge of civil war with violent crimes and kidnapping. In the hearing, Murphy said the men did not get a chance to challenge their transfers. Based on what I have learned, I don't see how anybody could say that these individuals had a meaningful opportunity to object, and that is why they have violated the court order. Oh boy, this is not surprising at all. I cannot tell you how many times the Trump administration has violated a court order at this point, but I can tell you that he needs to be removed from office. I don't understand what makes him special. Anyone else would have been gone by now. He is a disgrace to this nation. He is the exact opposite of what a president should be, and he is the exact opposite of who should be involved in politics. A politician should be someone who sticks up for the American people, someone who works for the American people. Trump works for his billionaire friends and his own self-interests and Israel. Anyone else would have been gone by now. For the love of God, please just get him gone. Put someone else in that isn't part of the Trump administration. Give it to Bernie. That would be the best start in turning us into a right direction for not only combating against China and keeping ourselves at the top of global leaderboards, but making a country good for our people and the people who want to come here for an opportunity. Granted, Bernie doesn't always have some of the best beliefs, and he unfortunately does not support all of the best groups. But it would definitely be a better turn in direction for what this country needs and what we need to become successful as a nation and what we need to have our people become successful as a nation, rather than all these rich people like Elon Musk who have billions of dollars that they'll never spend and their families will never spend in their lifetimes because that is so much money that they don't need. That was a rant. There's been a few rants. It has been a long day. I am very upset today, so rants galore will be happening throughout this video. Moving on, this will probably be a rant as well, as Pete Hegseth has done a Christian service during work hours at the Pentagon. During office hours, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth led a Christian prayer service at the Pentagon, in which he said it would be the first of a monthly occurrence. The service was broadcasted to the Pentagon's television network, available for anyone to watch. On the topic, Hegseth said, "This is something we plan to do on a monthly basis, on a volunteer basis. Here in the auditorium, I hope you will let those who work with you know about it. We're grateful that you joined us here." Hegseth frequently invokes his faith, even putting it into his day to work at the Pentagon, according to officials. Along with many other events, as in appearances on Fox News, he frequently brings up his belief in God. Whatever happened to the separation of church and state? We are not a Christian nationalist nation, and we never will be. No offense to Christians. I know there are plenty of you who actually do take the religion seriously and follow the book rather than a majority of these MAGA Christians, but I'm going to be completely honest. Christianity is the last religion I would want to have this country follow if it was going to be a religious nationalist nation. Nothing against Christians. There are a lot of cool Christians I know, but that is just not what I would enjoy, and I feel like would take the country in not the greatest direction. People have the right to choose their religion, and not have others force it on them. And I'm tired of My screen just froze and it tweaked me out. Okay. I'm tired of the forcing of religion and the use of religion in politics. It needs to stay out. Religious values should not dictate the lives of people who do not believe in that religion. The fact is, a majority of the people in politics right now, either Christians or Catholics or something along the lines of that, and it needs to stay out of politics because it plays too big of a role. When we started this country, when the founding fathers started this country, they wanted to create a country where people were allowed to believe in whatever religion they wanted to believe in because of, I believe, the Protestants. The Protestants were persecuted against when they came to the United States of America. The Protestants were persecuted against in England. My bad, that was wrong. When they were in England, they were prosecuted against, and they weren't allowed to practice their own faith because of a Catholic-dominated church at the time. And because of this, many Protestants came to the United States of America looking to freely practice their religion. And when the United States of America came to be, that is the same practice that we kept in place because we believe that people should be able to freely practice their religion, and there should be a separation of church and state, which means a separation of religion from politics. Two separate different things. Keep them apart. Honestly, in my opinion, and I know many may disagree with this, but anyone who cannot keep their religious views out of politics should not be serving because it takes too big of a role. I am all for religion. Believe whatever you want to believe in. I support that. I think religion is very important. I think it is an important thing for our society, but it fundamentally needs to stay out of politics because it has been clear with conservatism and so many other things that it has negative impacts on society. It has these impacts that hurt society. They prevent advancement through society. I mean, it should realistically, like, it's unfortunate how long it took for LGBTQ people to have the opportunity that they have now, and that is being taken away because of Christian nationalist movements. It is unfortunate how much racism has played a role in when it shouldn't be. And I'm like 99.9% sure racism is not a thing that is supported in the Bible, yet it is an issue, and it's because people don't follow their religion. They, instead of, you know, being Christians, they bring their Christianity into politics and use it to essentially do what's best for them and blanket that by saying, oh, these are just my Christian values. They're not. And in all honesty, any form of any values from any religion, this isn't just to dig on Christianity, should be kept out of politics. The beliefs of the people should be kept separate from the supports of the people. I strongly believe that. That was a whole tyrant in that self, and I hope that makes sense, and I hope that doesn't upset anyone. But truly, for so long, religion has dominated politics in this country, and it has been clear for so long that it truly just does not help, and arguably makes the situation worse. Moving on to the other news segment today, the UN has warned 14,000 babies could die in Gaza. A UN humanitarian chief has said 14,000 babies could die in Gaza within the next 48 hours if aid does not reach the Strip. Speaking to the BBC, Tom Fletcher said thousands of trucks were ready to go, adding that trucks contained baby food and other supplies. Israel has accused Hamas of misusing and stealing aid, which has been denied. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, said on Monday, "We must not reach a situation of famine," adding that Israel would only allow a minimum basic bridge to prevent hunger. This is insane. Israel has to be one of the worst countries in human history, yet they are able to, unfortunately, shield themselves by using Jewish history. Jewish people are cool. Got no problem with them. I have a problem with Israel. And it is plain wrong that Israel just uses the history of the Jewish religion to just allow them to do whatever they want. It genuinely makes Jewish people look bad. It is, in my opinion at least, a large reason to all of the anti-Semitism issues that we have today, a large reason contributing to that. And in general, it just looks bad on the religion, which is unfortunate. Um, so many less people would be dying if Israel wasn't around. And I know that puts a target on my head saying that when I want to be a future politician, but it's true. So many less people would be dying, and Israel is the problem. The fact that we have to hear about thousands of people dying every day is absolutely sick. The fact that we have to hear that 14,000 babies could be dying because Israel wants to control a piece of land and wants to ethnically cleanse and remove a group of religious people from that land is insane. And it is very clear that they are the problem. They are the issue. Moving on, as the Medicare cuts are included in tonight's budget vote. The House GOP bill will add so much money to the debt that it will force across-the-board Medicare cuts, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, or CBO. The CBO said late on Tuesday that the legislation would increase the debt by $2.3 trillion over 10 years, and it will trigger as much as $500 billion in Medicare cuts starting as soon as 2026. The cuts will be roughly $490 billion over the 2027-2023 period. Trump campaigned on not touching Medicare, but look at what the fuck? Trump campaigned on not touching Medicare, but look at this. The worst part about this is all the MAGA grandparents, of which there are so many, believe that Trump won't touch this. But newsflash, he will and wants to. I guarantee you, when he does cut it, they'll still be sucking him because anything he does and says is the truth, and he wants to do what's best for the middle class. But the fact is, he wants to destroy the middle class. He does not want what's best for it. And removing Medicare is proof of that. Medicare is a valuable program. So many retirees use it. So many people pay into that system just to be able to live their lives when they're old and can't work. And removing that system would not only be robbing all the people who paid into that system, but it gets rid of a valuable program that is essential to the United States at this point. So many people rely on Medicare. You would be putting so many people out of their homes, putting so many people out of their livelihoods, essentially. Like people, I myself, before I started doing internet stuff, I had looked for 5 months to find a job, and I couldn't find one for shit. Whether it's lack of experience or whatever, the job market being bad, whatever, you cannot find a job right now for anything at all. And if you expect these grandparents to go find a job when they can't pay for their bills, their food, all these sorts of things, that you're just going to inflate the job market already more, where people can't find a job. These grandparents are not going to be able to find a job. Same as I, a high schooler, cannot even find a job at like a McDonald's. It's bad. And this is not going to help it. Moving on to the final topic tonight. Unfortunately, Jerry Conley, a Democratic representative from Virginia, has died at the age of 65. No, 75, my apologies. Democratic Representative Jerry Conley of Virginia unfortunately passed Wednesday morning in his home, according to his family. He was 75 and had been going through a large battle with cancer. The family said in a statement, "We are fortunate to share Jerry with Northern Virginia for nearly 40 years. Because of that, that was his joy, his purpose, his passion. His abstinence will leave a hole in our hearts, but we are proud of his life's work, and proud of his life's work will endure for future generations. We thank you for your love for Jerry and how much he loved you all so much." Last month, Connolly had announced that he would step down and not seek re-election due to his esophageal cancer returning. He served in Virginia's 11th district since 2009 and overall served Democratic policies. My condolences to the family of this representative. It's always unfortunate to hear about anyone passing. I don't know much about his involvement behind the scenes, if he did any insider trading, or what he did specifically politically, but it is truly always sad to hear, about anyone passing. I wish his family well. I hope they're able to make it through this unfortunate situation, and truly, my condolences to you guys. with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I know there were a lot of rants today. I had a wild day, to say the least, and that's just kind of how things go when you're a little upset, but you know what happens. I'm sure no one was too upset for me going off script a little bit, and if you were, my true apologies. My goal isn't to upset anyone. My goal is kind of just for me to get my political platform out there. I know the religion thing is a hot topic. I don't care. Believe in whatever you want to believe in. Just don't force it on me, and just don't bring it into things that shouldn't be brought into. I think, there are fundamental values of this nation, and separation of church and state has been ignored for a very long time, and I strongly believe that it should not be ignored. But, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting. I appreciate all forms of support. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, and I'd like to get there eventually. So, thank you for everyone who's watched so far. I truly appreciate it. If you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. All funds go to me. They'll help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for in college, like clothes, water, food, all those stuff. You don't need to pay for water, but whatever. All those kinds of things. If not, you can always subscribe for free. Truly, I do appreciate all the forms of support. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. Also, feel free to check out my Blue Sky. I pushed out the notifications for these things coming out, and, little bits and pieces about other life things that I have going on. But, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.